really, it was a little bit numb. Just more thinking about, like, did I miss anything? Yeah. I think it was my initial reactions.
And then when you spoke to your clinic director and your chief resident of program, was that in the same day?
Yeah, they were in the same, they met with me together.
Okay. What do you remember of the things that they said to you?
What did they say? I think it's, really kind of, how are you doing? Are you worried? I kind of can't remember exactly, but like, are you, I guess, feeling guilty or stressed? What's your mind? Where's your mind at? Do you need to take the day off? Like, how are offered to take as much time as you need? The chief resident kind of talked about an experience she had during residency, kind of her emotions and what she found helpful. And then kind of went through like some of the things that will happen. Like the director will contact the family. They'll probably have a risk review. I can't remember what the exact name was, but they'll. The risk management team will kind of happen at some point in the next couple of weeks.
And were you part of that?
Yes. Yeah. I was, and then the previous resident who I took over her care from.
Okay. And of these sort of official reviews, how much of that was sort of handled by you versus how much with the supervisor?
Much of it was not handled by me. I guess there a supervisor. I think who was it? I think the clinic director and someone else, another attending, went through the record, and like so, two eyes went over it to see if there was anything I could have done or should have either missed or also thinking documentation. For learning experiences, like they know, like they usually. They're pretty good at keeping up with monitoring notes, but so that was handled, and the risk review it was all set up, and kind of I had to, like whatever rotation I was on, I was able to take time off to go.
And did you have to present or?
I can't remember if I had to present. I can't remember who presented the actual case, and then I presented what I had my kind of time with her, the carer, and then the previous resident also had this. I think someone initially kind of went over why they were there, what had happened, and I did my kind of purview.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was at that point. I think it was. I had met with them, the director, a couple times, and said like we've looked over the notes. There's nothing. It looks like you did exactly what you should have. All your documentation was like perfect. Like you documented the phone calls, you didn't miss anything. You had multiple collateral, like kind of reassuring. So the risk review was not as anxiety provoking, and actually the risk committee, whatever it is, was not punitive at all. They were very asked if you kind of more of like really trying to look for is there anything that we could have done, not at me, but like even as a systems, is there something that was missed at all, which I don't think they found any. Like, it was everything that happened we did should have happened, and there's nothing like that the program or the trainees were like missed or didn't do. Or was lacking in any way, I guess.
And then were you aware of how the process would go?
Not until I met. I can't remember if we had a little didactic on it, like when it first started, if that happens. If we did, I had forgotten. But like when it happened, I kind of laid it out right away and make sure I knew what was going to happen. I want to say they did tell us at one point, but it was probably in the first year, and I had too busy.
And around about this early time after the death of the patient, did you notice any changes in yourself or changes in your work?
I would probably was a little more vigilant about who I had heard from or not. Maybe my documentation probably got a little bit longer for a period. I don't recall, because I was also on consults at that time, because we did half-day outpatient, half-day consults for the first 6 months of third year. I don't recall me being more cautious when doing risk assessments. So I think also because there was a supervisor there with me. I was aware of that because that was something I know we had talked about with the clinic director and with the chief. Like, they tend to like be a little bit more conservative initially after, but I didn't find myself that way. I was aware of it, but no one at least commented on it, or I didn't feel like I was just like wanting to like hospitalize everyone.
Right. And then, can you tell me about the supervision or support that was available to you through the program or outside? Like, how did you find out what was available and what did you utilize?
The administration was always very approachable. Like, if something's wrong anytime, you can meet with either the program director or the clinic director. I mean, their offices are right next to each other. Or the chief residents were great, because that's mostly what their role is. I think it was like 50% chief job, and then the rest of it was clinic. So it was a lot. They were there to support, and there were two of them to support the residents, which I had already kind of known beforehand. I think I could meet with some people like about it. I can't remember exactly. There were some people I could meet with about it, but I didn't feel like that was necessary. Our program also kind of recommended everyone have their own therapist, I think, because around here a lot of the people in private practice either trained in the area, so they will take residents and have discounts. So I had one already at that point for about a year, so I think that's why I didn't see anyone else, because I had that in place. But they said like there's people you can meet.
And then what was your relationship with the people that you sort of sought supervision from before the incident?
Meaning like the
clinic director or the chief or the program director?
Yeah, my relationship, it wasn't like that. Didn't make us like, that wasn't the first time I had interacted with them. Like second year, because we had therapy patients. We had met with the clinic directors several times. The program director I knew pretty well. The chief, our program had all PG 1 through 4s. They tried to integrate as much as possible, so it wasn't super isolating. So I knew them pretty well.
And so, can you just tell me a little about the supervision that you got? Like, how did your supervisor respond? What was it like? What do you think were the aspects of that supervision that you got?
It was pretty quick. I emailed, and I think I can't remember if she paged me or emailed me back immediately and said, "Are you okay? Do you want to meet right now? Do you want to meet later in the afternoon?" Kind of like let me meet with that, and I think it was very helpful.
What was helpful in it?
I think there was asking how I was doing, but not pushing it to make me feel something if I wasn't I'm not like a super emotional person, which was respected. I think there's some people in my class who cry at like a kitten, but so they weren't they didn't expect me to be like that. They were very kind of allowed me to kind of process it, but they were also kind of pretty